All right. Belch. Okay. So, for hopping on this one, cool in the beginning, cool, but I can see there's only like one person jumping on here at the start of this stuff. So this stream's kind of unannounced, but anyways, we're gonna dabble in this. It's been a while since I touched this concept, and I realized that there was a couple sets I got to do that would benefit from this process. So, um, I'm gonna go ahead and try to work it out from that point. So, there's a couple cool ways you can do voxel generators in Maya, and there's a really old way to do this without any scripts, and I'm going to go ahead and dabble in it and see what I can make something of it. So back in like 2018, 2017, a friend of mine made a converter to convert fluid objects into voxel objects, and then uh, uh, would even be UV mapped for the like Minecraft kind of style stuff, and it was kind of helpful. There was a couple of things with it that wasn't quite useful, but overall it was pretty useful. Um, but later on, lost hold of that script, and I figured out a way to do it another manner and keeping some additional benefits of the process. So with this setup, I want to kind of recreate that scenario and go ahead and um, just kind of illustrate the process as I'm doing it. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, what up, kitty? Hold on one sec. All right, moving on. So there's a couple issues with this, and we're just gonna kind of. Sorry, motherfucker. Hold on. All right. Um, Resuming this shit. So yeah, so I kind of wanted to just kind of walk through this process since I'm going to be revisiting anyway for myself. I thought I just can just stream it as I'm kind of going through this. All right. So you always start with like a fluid, and then I'd make it whatever dimensions I want to make, et cetera, et cetera. But then there's this issue with the voxel generation that if we want to have it snapped to conform to uh, voxelized shape or a single shape, issue is that with Maya is that it doesn't actually square off anything. It kind of approximizes, the fluid because it wants to make the fluid smooth. It doesn't want to make it janky. So this is kind of a quick process to kind of remedy that issue. So when you make it like a grid for like a terrain, you want to make it 64 by 6 pixels by 64 pixels. It actually doesn't make it 64 by 64 voxels. It does like 65 or 63. So if you do it like a snap to grid process to correct this, it fucks it up. Even if the tessellation is correct, it won't map it correctly to the grid system. So, because it just uses a Euler kind of averaging when it creates these shapes. So, anyway, so even if we make something dynamic and so we can make some like cool terrain kind of shapes and things, even just using a regular emitter, um, we don't quite get the nice Minecrafty kind of voxelation we would like. So to correct this, we've got to actually change a couple parameters on this shape. So I kind of opened up a plane here that's actually 64 by 64. And if we look at top view here, and we can go ahead and just make this stuff transparent, we'll notice that the grid doesn't line up. Starts to line up from the middle or the center or the outside edge, but it doesn't actually line up. The reason why is that it creates the voxels based upon the grid system of the point, not necessarily the faces. So you end up with extra extra geometry. So for instance, if I hide this here and I just go ahead and select this edge here, this is the width of the actual. So we can do this straight without having to actually map it out. We'll see it says 64 faces. That's fucking fantastic. So why is it that if it's 64 faces, it's not the same as the grid, which is 64 by 64? It's because this is actually 1 unit bigger than the actual plane is. So when you make a voxel box 64 by 64, it actually is 65 by 65 because it's going by the points to create the voxels, not the space in between, which is our faces. So if you do something like, say, base resolution, let's say 64, but make it 63 by 63. Oops. God damn, I can't type blindly. There we go. Let me go ahead and have it generated out. Love it, do its thing. And then we take a look now of that grid. We notice that's even smaller. So it's like, oh, we're going the wrong way here. So it needs to be 65 by 65. Let's pull that up again. 65 by 65. Closer. We got one dimension correctly, but the other dimension is not quite. See how that's off right here on each side? Oh, maybe I budge this too. And also it's pulling out the side because I think I have a drop-off edge on there. But you can see how it's not ever making you the way that you want this to be. So even if I reset this shit, 65 by 65 is still outside those edges. That's really frustrating, as you can see. Especially with you have a grid like this and you tell it to become a voxels and it doesn't ever match. And if you're looking on this, is like all three, you're not actually even lining up. Both the fluid object itself and the grid itself. So if we take this grid again and we select it, we can still see that it's still 64. So one way we can like manually check it all the time is kind of shrink it down if we wanted to. And then it'll line up. Oh, you know what? I'm going to hide this fluid because this fluid grid's throwing me off. Hold on one second. Showing this to you. Fucking A. Where are we at? View. Yeah, it's under view. That's right. Let's render better, faster. That's all right. None. Bounding X is fine. There we go. All right. So let's go back to fluid emitter here. Play it back. And there's our actual plane here. 64. So why isn't, if I make it bigger 1 unit or smaller 1 unit, it's still always off. And it's, believe me, it was fucking frustrating. So I kind of gave up on this. And now we're going to remember how to do this. So I'm just actually kind of talking out of my ass as I kind of struggle to remember how I fucking change this process here. All right, so we need this to line up. So if we make it 60, 63. Still not right. There's our plane, but now our voxels thing is just smaller than what it needs to be. If I scale it up, one dimension looks right, but then the other dimension is off. See? So no matter what I do, even if off-centered, it's always off. So how do we fix this? So we can always scale it up a little bit every time if we wanted to. Or we can do a weird situation where we scale up the fluid object. So the fluid object's true center is actually not in the center of it on the grid here. It's actually offset about half a pixel. So we actually budge this thing half a pixel or half a voxel over, it actually will line up. But that's going to be very frustrating. And I fixed this once before. And we can kind of see that this is off too as a scaling because it shows resolution on here. It's dropping it down to 63. So let's go back to 64 on this. Size 63 by 63. Oh, and 65 by 65, sorry. And then we're going to have to change this to 17 as well. And there's our plane face here. And it's still not right. What the hell? See? It drives me fucking nuts. So why is it doing that? I'm trying to wrap my brain around this right now and remember how I fix this problem. I'm just going to go to this fluid here and turn off a couple things real quick. Might be something else that I have on. Fucking A. Let's turn off output mesh here. Let's go to surface. No, I want to go to shading. Turn off edge drop. Oh, edge drop off is off. Okay. That's what actually started this whole thing. I actually tried to find that generator on one of my old machines. I couldn't find the script. I found like the I found a Python clip of it saved in a temp file for in Maya, but an old version of Maya, I think 2016 Maya, but it wasn't complete. It just had like the executable and a couple other things in it. It didn't actually have the meat of the code in it. And sadly, my old email got hacked, and I was able because I never delete anything in the email, so I was gonna actually check through that thing from almost 10 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, to see if it was still in there. But there's another way I found out how to do this stuff, and I'm trying to remember how I did it because I found an alternate way to do it. But I remember that this grid snapping for this fluid voxel thing to get the shit lined up so it can snap to grid really well without doing something janky was something weird I did on the fluid shape on the sizing, and I don't remember what the hell I did to do it. Once that's done, and everything else just fucking works great. But I'm trying to recall how in the hell I fucking did this. Because if you scale it up a full voxel, it doesn't like the voxels in between, so you only have 63 voxels. Or you have 65, but it won't do 64 correctly for some reason. And if you scale it up, scale it down, it's always slightly off, just a hair off. I don't know why, because it calculates the faces, not the individual points, as voxels Through mine, you probably already fucking recognize that. But for some reason, um, when you want to do it one way or the other way, it's always off. And I'm trying to remember how I got it to be pinpoint. Um, you know what? We can actually just even test this out a little bit easier. Let's go make this like really small. Let's try something really small first and see if it helps fix our problem here. All right, let's. Oh, you know what? My generator is way down here, so we gotta move that guy down. All right. There's our generator. So we got 1, 2. It's supposed to be 8 by 8, but we can clearly see here that it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, but 8. So if we make this base resolution 10 on an 8 by 8, it should match. But it doesn't. See? Like, what the hell? This is why it's frustrating. So that should line up with an 8 by 8 grid, but it won't do it. You have to actually scale it up. And notice too, it's actually not entirely centered. It's also, maybe this is not centered though. Yeah, this is not centered. No, it is centered. But this is what I was talking about was weird, is that even though that this is voxelized, it's still not quite centered on the grid. It's offset at just a hair. And this is what makes this so fucking frustrating. And I found a fix for it. I don't remember what it was. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so this should be 10 by 10 pixels, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, and now this is 9, and now this is 10. See, it's always off, and it's always never cleanly against the edges. But I fucking found a fix for it, and I was like, oh, that's how that's fucking generated. And I don't remember what it was. God damn it. So we get to enjoy this frustration together. Another weird thing too is the surface here. Oh, I scaled that down. Put that back up. That was my bad on that. All right. But see how this is centered and it still sticks out the edge? Like almost all this is correct except for one side of this voxel generation bleeding out. And I'm not even sure if it's a drop-off problem or what. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is why this is aggravating. And it changes as you get the shape larger, the approximation of it. Let's see if I remember what this is. So, okay, if this is 8 by 8 now, and we shrink it down to the size it needs to be, which would be, let's see, that doesn't even make sense that way. Make it 9. Oh, that was supposed to be 9, not 6. See, that one lines up. Check that out. And it's off-centered. This is what drives me nuts. This is the center of the grid. It adds the voxel on the outside edge of the parameter. But now it's lined up. So if we make this twice the size, does that mean it's actually going to add voxels on the other side, not the bottom side anymore? Let's find out. So if we go 16 by 16 by 16, all right, it's got the ones on the edge. But if we go 17, yeah, see, it adds it on the outside of this side. So it alternates. For some reason, it goes from this side to the other side after each point increment. So if we do this again, say like 31, well, technically 32. And so this would be 33. Yeah, see, it's on the outside edge here. And then if we do 64, it'll be up on this top side. Let's find out. So I think 65 would be the next generation. Oh, wait, no. The next generation would be 48. Sorry, not 65. My bad. Yeah, 48. See, it's lined up. 48 and do 49. So it's lined up here and lined up on this side. And if we do 8 more, what's 8 more? 56. So it'll be 57. Yep, see, it's lined up now. And this side is lined up with one extra. I don't know why it does it. It just adds that extra one on the outside of the. And it has to do something with the actual generator for voxelation because it stretches it out. And it's just, I don't know why it does that. It just does that +1 thing, but it adds it on the end. So maybe it's a thing where it calculates because it can't do half a voxel. And when you add an odd number, it adds it to the X plus and Z plus radius. And probably the Y plus radius as well. I don't know why the math is done that way, but it's freaking weird. Yeah, see, I thought this was, but what's strange on this is the extra boundaries I get, but why does it alternate? You know, maybe because it just fixes the voxel like I was saying every time, and because it won't do half a voxel for padding. So when you add an odd number on there, it's just always on one side instead of trying to center the whole thing. Because for me, I would kind of think that it would try to center the whole thing, offset it when you have like an odd number instead of having an even number. But for some reason, the odd numbers, it always does this. All right, so now 64. Let's do this now. 65. All right, so it's on the top there. But we got one extra voxel down here. See, now it's getting weird. Now it changed. Because right now it's a 64 by 64. It should be right on that edge. So if we do 64, it still does it. So I'm thinking it's not actually not the so much. Oh wait, you know what? What happens when we change the height? No, see, it's still off. Yeah. It almost treats it like it has to be a perfect square for the math to do. No, it doesn't matter. Never mind. Never mind. I had a guess there. Yeah, see? And now if I line it up with the grid here, they both line up. It's just weird to me. I don't get it. So what if we can, so I remember how to, like, did I cheat it somehow? Did I do like 64 pixels? I did 64 and a half or something like this. And did it change the way that the No, see, it still generates it on the outside edge. All right. So 65, 64, 64. And the only other thing I can think of that would actually alter any of that would be the way that it does this output mesh. Maybe if we change the mesh resolution to a number lower than 1 for some reason. Let's see. See, now that averages is still at that point. Maybe higher than 1 for whatever reason. No, see, it still does it. I don't know. I don't get it. And it's weird why it changes at 64 too. Like the pattern was there from like 8, 16, 32. You know, every time there was an interval, it was fine. But as soon as it gets to 64, it stops. It breaks that pattern. Oh no, it's always been weird. And this fluid generator for Maya, it's been around forever, dude. So, anyways, so knowing that we have that there, let's go ahead and see. Grab that plane here. Move on to the next step here. And make sure this lines up to the grid here. Don't be fooled by the little intricacies on the sides. All right, so that's looks like it's correct. So for whatever reason, it just always adds an extra voxel on the outside edge, and that's kind of annoying. So if we take this and we want to make sure it's flush with 64 by 64, we literally have to make this a let's see if this works. 63. No, this needs to be, size needs to be 63. But if we do that, it'll be a half a pixel off the base here. And then we have to take this whole thing and move it half a pixel. 0.5, 0.5. Theoretically. But yeah, so see, it's still off though. Yeah, so the voxel generation is fine. It's really just the conversion it does into the polygons that jacks your shit up. Anyway, so let do its thing. And then, you know what? I wonder if maybe, because there's a way I did this to fix this, and maybe my edge drop off here does have something to do with it. Maybe we can fandangle this to a very specific amount where it will not go past that edge. It'll just truncate it just enough. And I think maybe the value just has to change. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so if we have it at a weird value, it'll truncate it to that edge. See, now it's pulling off from the top. Yeah, so if you give it a weird number, that's what it was. That was my solution to this problem. See, it ended it at the edge. All right. So back to fluid here, fluid shape. Put this back at 65. There we go. Yeah, so that's the fix. So to offset the fluid drop off just a hair on a weird number will truncate that one side. Not the other side. The other side's fine. It will fix one side. Anyways, move forward. Fuck. That's actually the headache. Everything else from that point is easy to go. All right, so we have some like terrain here. Lovely. And then I have this snap to grid. Where is it at? Script that's been around since like 2007. I think it was on Alias, and I think I have it under Animato. There it is. Yeah, this thing's been around forever. Yeah, so we did make sure this is on whatever. It can be on the modeling panel grid values, or it can just be user defined. So what this will do, will snap all these close to proximity tessellation to what we want, and make sure it's on vertices. It won't grab the whole thing. It's not on vertices. Sometimes it takes a second. It's old ass fucking code. All right, let me just check it to make sure it's perfectly snapped. And it looks like it is. And there we go. Now we have our wonderful single object. Once we figure out that fucking problem. Dude, sometimes it's just like half the time of these things are just me trying to recall this stuff. All right, so the weird wonky fix to fix this issue was just add a little bit more padding on the values for the fall off on the borders of the volume container at a weird number for some reason, and you actually have to make that value change depending on how high the grid density is. So I'm pretty sure if it was like only eight voxels by 8 voxels, that value would be very small. No, it would be very large. It'd be like 0.375 or something like that. And as the voxels get bigger, the density gets higher, you actually decrease that value in weird increments. All right. So now if we look at this and we grab our plane here and we go to top view here, it should line up. So yep, look at that. Everything's fucking perfect. Fucking A. Now, another cool thing about this shit, too, that reason why I'm actually wanting to do this now, since like Maya 2022, whatever, and I stopped at Maya 19. So having 24 is new to me with all these loaded tool sets. There's another project that I'm working on that it's actually kind of been a headache because of some of the feature changes, the way they do deformation systems and stuff in Maya. And I've actually had to revert back to like an old legacy mode to get some of the stuff that I made years ago to actually work, and it's been frustrating. Because of the new Boolean system, I actually can do something kind of cool with these guys now, which is something I couldn't do before because Booleans were always a pain in the ass nasty. So I can take this guy here and just for safety reasons, I'm going to shrink this just a hair, just the tiniest bit. That's perfect. So we don't have faces on top of other faces. So now I can actually just kind of combine these shapes together for a terrain. And I can Boolean it. And this is all theory. I haven't tried this yet. As unit. Now with the setup, I can actually update these booleans too in the process, which is something that Maya didn't. Which is funny. Blender allowed you to do this before, but Maya didn't allow you to do this before, where you would actually have an object history for the boolean, so you can actually manipulate these individually, post doing the boolean without sitting here waiting for hours to do the boolean cut and undoing it and then adjusting it and doing it again to get this tessellation. So with these things combined, I'm actually going to go ahead and just delete the history. And we can see that it's nice clean cut on the inside here, but we'll have some funk like these guys here because I scaled it down just a bit, which is not that big of a deal because I can always go polygon modeling and then merge vertices, and then I'll merge all of them together. And for whatever reason, if I feel like it's still not on the grid system, I can just double check it and run that grid script again. So everything's perfectly on the grid. But now I can actually use Booleans to actually unify terrain shapes. And you can even do it from like Minecraft terrains that you import and export, so to make it one unified mesh and retain all of your texture maps and stuff like that as well. So this is something I wanted to test out to make sure this was working. Because there's a sequence I have with the train, and I want to change the sets, but I don't want to change the train's location. Like I want this train to keep moving, and it's going to traverse different terrains, and I want to just be able to swap out the terrain sets and have it match the grid system, like a tiling system, and not having to import the train animation into new sets. I want to do the vice versa. I want to import the sets and change the sets out to the train animation instead. The reason why is because there's a lot of cached effects in the train with all the smoke and everything, and I don't want to keep bringing those into new sets every time and swap it out, including the position of the camera and things like that. So I'd rather just swap out the sets. So some of the sets in the foreground stuff is manually made, but stuff past that point, that's past the on the horizon line, I really don't want to end up having to export stuff over and over through Minecraft and then swap out textures. I just want to be able to uh, swap that out and generate it kind of like on the fly, because most of it's just going to be silhouetted as well. And I also want some more fantastical kind of terrain shapes. So, which is nice about the fluid stuff is I can, as you can see here, I can actually kind of do that with this. So we can make a bunch of different terrains and then mix and match as we go along. And depending on the color value too, you can actually transfer the color data from the fluid object into vertice color or into so with vertice color though too, you can select certain uh, polygons. So you can select certain polygons by vertice color. So all the yellow ones of this value you select, and boom, that becomes all the grass. You select all these ones of this color, boom, all those become the dirt. And you can do this by height value. You can do this by a lot of different dimensional values. You can also use it on the fluid's properties of like heat or um, temperature or age. So you can actually select individual faces via that that coloring process with the voxel colors or the vertice colors being colored by the fluid data. Because like I was saying, you can transfer that fluid data into the shape just via exporting when you convert from fluid object into a political object. I don't know if any of that rambling made sense, but knowing that, and I've used that for some other stuff, not for voxelation, it makes it easy to select certain areas and change certain areas. So I can have a terrain. It's like I want to throw a bunch of trees on here. I can just take that data there and convert those all those voxels into tree textures. Um, or I can take all those voxels and remove them if I wanted to, and replace them with other tree tessellation. So this is kind of cool in that situation, being able to, and I could use Mash to do that if I wanted to. So kind of exploring that process of being able to do that with this terrain. So anyway, let's kind of turn this guy off here. We don't need the surface on here. Um, let's go ahead and kind of mess with this a little bit. So what's also kind of cool about, let's go change this to like 32. Oh wait, you know what? If this is 32 and that's 65, does that mean the height value always has to be squared on these? Fuck. Hold on. We got to do one more test. God damn it. Because I didn't realize that this is going to be annoying. Let's just have this run through pretty far. Thanks, man. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. You can make some fantastical terrains with this shit. All right, let's go ahead and turn that polygon shape back on. All right. So, orthographic side view. Turn on transparent. Okay, so right now, this is all mapped the way it's supposed to be mapped. Cool. 32. Oh, see, it's already off. See, it does offset it. I fucking knew it. Yeah, see, this is not lined up at all. This wants to be like half a pixel vertically. What happens if we do that? What if we take that polygon shape here and move it half a pixel? Yeah, see, it's not still not. Is it lined up? Yeah, it's lined up. That's right. It's hard to see on this thing because of the approximations. No, it's not. It's not. It's off too. All right. Fuck. All right, so we got to change the way this is set up. So if that's 65, that's 32. That's 32 there. So this will have to be 33. That might be right. Let's test this out. Rendering, where am I going? Animato. I always forget that I put it there. Snap. Give it a sec. Did I even hit it? There it goes. Oh, no, we're off. Damn. See, it does screw it up. It treats it like these grids always have to be square. If they're not square, it doesn't work. If that stretches out to that, that means there's not enough of the tessellation to go upright on that. So that means there's actually 32 of these that are wrong size wrong, or there's actually 33. Like I typed in, there actually is 33 of these. What was that alert for? Oh, my battery. All right, let's see if we can fix this. Because I really don't want to have to voxelize this stuff every time on that high grid like that. So it actually is doing 33. So if we did 32, how do we can make 32 half? So the only thing I can think of is bumping this up off maybe a half pixel or something like that. Or maybe we just have to turn off, keep voxels square. Maybe I do have to take that off. We'll see right now. I want that and that. There we go. Oh, come on. I just want that one and that one. Chode. I don't want both of them. Thank you. All right. See, that's not right either. That's not right. If you offset it, maybe down. Yeah, see, it's not right either. So scaling it and oh my gosh, it just created a new problem. It's almost like this has to be square because it. Fuck. God damn it. This is irritating. All right. Let's turn off for keep voxel square for whatever reason. I'm kind of curious. Make that 33. Oh. that fixes it. It's lining up. You can watch it, see how it kind of chugging along. It actually is lined up. Okay, that fixes it. All right, so you have to keep voxel square off. Okay, cool. And that just want to make sure that this is still 64 by 64 on the top here. Didn't change that because every time I change one of these parameters, for some reason this shit got janky. And nope, looks like we're still lined up. Okay, cool. So that has to be turned off. Fuck. All right, I can actually start making shit. All right, let's hide this. All right, so I want this whole thing to be able to tile these out for other sections of this terrain, and be able to make some other terrain generations. And so what's kind of cool about this too is once there's a fluid in here that's filled, you can actually sculpt the fluid. There used to be a drop down that you can use to fill fluid, but they don't have it anymore, and I don't know why. Might have been a plugin that I had on here, but there used to be a way to just click and you can actually fill the fluid. So that sucks. Anyway, so we're gonna turn off this emitter though. We'll just drop it down to 0 like that. Move it out of the way, it doesn't matter. So if we take our paintbrush tool, this is kind of a weird tool. This is very old and archaic. Paint fluid dudes. So this works on slices, approximate slices, and then okay, smooth works. Why can't I actually make that brush bigger? My mouse click they usually use to make the brush bigger is not not working. All right, that's annoying. All right, now usually you can just paint on the surface and you can drag and middle click, and it is not. I can see it inverting it. That's annoying. All right, anyways. So depending on your angle here, you can actually change this value. So this is fucking some old tool stuff, but opacity, let's go density, and value. I'm trying to figure out why it's not filling that entire spot. Oh, I probably have pressure on there. That's better. Let's see what's going on here. Density, replace, value, min-max value. I want that shit clamped. Why is it noisy? I'm trying to figure out why is this not one solid chunk here. I want this to be stamped like one big. Does this both have to be like 13? Because it's a volumetric paintbrush. No, it doesn't matter. So why are we only getting little dots here on this brush? See, no matter what I'm doing here, the brush is fucking tiny. Is this thing broken? Huh. Nope. That's odd. What's going on here? I was expecting this brush to be as big as the tool here, but it's not. Some old Maya bug shit here. Not even gonna reset it. Stamp spacing. Oh, stamp depth 3D. Maybe this is our problem here. Ah, there it is. Okay, so we actually need to up the ante on this. So if we had this on 8, like 8 on that, then it's... Oh, there we go. I can see the line. Okay. Sorry, it's been a while. So 1 is actually 100% of the width of the brush itself. Okay, gotcha. So if we do this like 64, and this is like 16, yeah. All right, 1. So we can actually draw the whole thing. So what I want to kind of do here is I want it not to have to be locked down to layer by layer. I want to be able to draw more than just one layer at a time. Will this draw more than one layer at a time? Ooh, it's chugging. Did not like that. Ooh. It is angry. Hold on. Let's give it a sec. It is so angry. All right, there we go. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. There's our height stuff. All right, so if we go 20 on this, this is a weird, this whole voxel brush thing is kind of weird. All right, so that's now working. It's doing the job now. Okay. So we can drop from the side. It's just super laggy though. I guess because it brushes and updates, and then after the update, it adds whatever actual additional values to there. So velocity, everything else, it calculates in it. So I didn't think that the brush would get that slow with that process. It's almost faster just to do a generator. Oh, that's it. That's what we'll do. That is what we'll do. All right, let's take this fluid here and clear initial state. I know what to do here. Fluids. Where's the cache on the rubble of this initial state? There it is. Oh, come on. Why don't you clear the initial state? It's a set initial state, but where should be clearing it? Clear. There it goes. Oh, you know why? Because I have it on -10 here. The simulation actually starts at 0. All right. So I have an idea. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create an interactive brush here. Let's go to FX and let's go ahead to fluid. Add a from object thing. No, just emit. Just need an emitter. That's right. It's been a while. All right. And then on the emitter here, I want to give it some properties. Let's minimum distance, let's say 4, max 4. Let's make it a solid 4. No drop off, no jitter. All right, so if we play back here, we should be able to. Oh, let's turn off. Put that on static there. There we go. Just at 800. And I want that emitter outside of the container there. And heat method, no emission. We'll just turn that stuff off so it's not calculated. And then we want to, I want interactive playback mode. There we go. So now I can actually, there we go. Haha, figured it out. So now I can interactively paint in the scene with the brush. That's exactly what I want. Cool. All right, I'll make this like 2400. And we can even slow the frame rate to like 6 frames per second. Oh, that's not what I want. I want to keep this. Oh, wait, no. We'll keep that at 24. And we'll just change the playback speed. There we go. And then now we got an interactive brush. So we can literally paint our terrain. What would be cool is to write a little little left key, right key script on here to be able to be able to, what am I thinking of? Change the properties, the dimensions of whatever it may be as we're interacting with it, as we're drawing. Oop, wrong button. I need interactive playback mode. There we go. All right. We can change this too. We can make make this into a square, I guess. Or we can make this. Oh, that's what we want to do. So the omni, we want to go volume. That's what I want. Volume here. There we go. So literally as I'm interacting with the scene here, I can actually all right, now we're cooking. Now we're actually making something useful here. The nice cool thing with the voxel stuff, we can actually use some of this information here to, so we can make it like a little, we can actually have like a brush that's just a polygon mesh of a tree. And then we can literally use like the tree as stamps in the environment. Make a city, whatever, in the scene, so we can just stamp in trees and stuff like that. And we can actually tie the color data to those trees. So when we are ready to change those into textures, we can just say that anything that's green on that voxel data will become trees. So we're just kind of playing around here, see what we can kind of finagle. So I'm just kind of playing around here. And I'm just glad I can change the shape of these. Where's the volume controls here? Down here? There it is. Let's go sphere. I can reset this anytime too. Oh, that's right. We want interactive playback. So we need a big dome. I'm not sure if interactive playback has a shortcut key or not. So we can paint in a tree line if we wanted to. So speaking of which, if we had this, talk about the color data thing. Let's just test that out. Color, let's do a static grid. And then we'll have this say, like for now, we'll say this is generating green. So we'll change this to green. And we're not getting our, oh, mint fluid color. There we go. My bad. There we go. Now I can put green in here. The only problem is when you have fluid color like this on, it looks like I can't actually see the shading anymore for the environment, which makes it kind of hard. So I wonder if we could turn on old school lighting on this. Let's see if we can. What is this happening? So you can actually render this without an Arnold because it doesn't, fuck yeah, work anymore. Directional is good. And ambient diffusion. Does any of this work? No, probably not. Brightness still works, so. Diagonal, nice. Directional. Anyway. Cool. Let's see if it still works interactively, though. Cool. All right. I'll go ahead and stop there. The nice thing when I stop wherever I stop. Oh no! I forgot to set initial state. Motherfucker. All right. There's a there's a way to fucking tell it to like save as initial state as soon as you stop, and I did not turn that on. I don't even remember where that was at. I think it was still under the paint fucking settings. Oh, you know why? Because I was interactively playing this back. It wasn't actually a paint thing. I was actually using this tool. God damn it. All right. Well, we're not going to really make anything, so let's go ahead and just do this again real quick. And we'll, I actually want to turn off the paint stuff at the moment, though. We'll do this one more time. I'm just going to kind of paint terrain here, because there's some other stuff we want to kind of test out here. Because since this is all voxel data, we can actually apply dynamic attributes to this to mess around with it so we can get different terrain and shapes and things like that. So I'm just going to use this tool here. And then I'm going to switch it over to the boxes because I want to see how it does with those box shapes. Maybe we'll make a little mesa or something like that. Let's change this to, oh, instead of add to, I want this to be replace. Let's do cube. There we go. And we'll make some buildings, whatever. What's this right here? I can make them all linear, so if we want to add like a wall, whatever, we can make it straight. A little castle, whatever it may be. All right, now when we stop this shit, make sure I do initial state, set initial state. All right, there we go. All right, now we can turn on our dynamic grid here, and things are going to happen. Because now I have all that fluid data in there, and it's going to continue on moving forward, like whatever values that would plan on there, whatever values. So density, velocity, whatever else. I want to turn off buoyancy. Like if you take it and turn it -1, it'll start dropping down like a liquid, like it's melting. Still got that box there, which is funny. I'm going to pull that emitter out. And we can turn this all into like animation voxel data if you wanted to. You can kind of see it's like I'm doing some oceanic kind of effect right now. Fluid. All right. So that works out on that. But say if I want to get rid of some of this jankiness in here. Nice. I can just go, think of it like a blur tool maybe. Oop, wrong thing. Let's see, diffusion. Let's go diffusion here. So soften everything. So everything will start blending together. Turn off buoyancy here. So I need to soften everything. We can just kind of soften everything. Let's say if we can even like start with this stage here. I'll set this in the initial state. I really want to make a button for that. All right. Let's say if we need to make a hole here. So if we want to cut, we should be able to use negative on this to be able to cut into our stuff too. All right, let's see here. Replace. Let me just make this -1. All right, here it goes. Theoretically, it should work. Oh, I need to turn off dynamics. Again, my bad. Static. Actually, both of these can be static. All right. Not see it still moving because I gave it inertia, so we need to change both these static. There we go. All right, so I should be able to cut a hole through this thing. Chugga, 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 choo choo. Yep, there we go. So I can just use it like an eraser as well. So if I want to put like a terrain tunnel. Literally, what the concept of this is. Cut that out, maybe a little deeper. There we go. Cool. Bulldoze it through. All right. So say we got our terrain. Say this is just our lovely terrain we wanted to fucking use. Let's go ahead and turn on. One of the reasons why it's laggy too, I have it generating this stuff as we're doing this stuff. All right. So I also want to kind of make this a little bit more accurate, tighter to the actual voxel generation. And it's fine at the moment. It just seems like it's a voxel bigger than what it needs to be. So I'm going to go down and see if I can tighten that up a little bit. And I'm assuming that's going to be on the fall off controls here. Or thresholds, something under the thresholds probably. Yeah. That's too far. So that's 10 there. We get it right before it cuts off the outside edge there. That's too far there. Let's go 25 for now. That's pretty close. Let's go 24. Cool. All right, so back to what we were doing before. We can take this guy now. So like, okay, this is our terrain I want. I'm not doing color transfer data right now. And I'm going to go, I want this to be my terrain. Because I've already gone through how to texture map this stuff before. Dozens of times I did it on the last stream. So, yeah, Animato. And then snap. Let do its thing. Oh, it did it, and I wasn't paying attention. There we go. There's our map to Minecraft voxel stuff. All right. That works. Cool. All right, success. Fucking finally. All right, so finally got that system to work. Now to actually apply this to something that's actually usable in a scene. So in the sequence here, I have a bunch of terrain, this terrain being traveling through a bunch of terrain sets, and this whole problem with this is that, the whole purpose of this is that I don't want to swap out the sets. I want to keep the terrain animation where it's at and be able to, keep that terrain animation as its own scene and just swap out the scenery, the background scenery. And I wanted a way to be able to generate that stuff a little bit quicker and be able to swap it out and keep it on the tile system. So to get that tile system to work, because I want these shots to be wide shots. And aside from a couple scenes, especially even with like DigBuildLive stuff, I kept the view distance because they're rendering and I don't want to fucking make big sets and stuff like that. Pretty small. I mean, there's a couple wide shots every once in a while, but I never use them very often. And the way that Arnold the renderer works right as of now is that it's a path tracer. So if something's visually there, it'll render it. So it doesn't matter if it's really close up to the camera or really far away from the camera. If it hits that pixel, whatever that pixel data is, it's just going to force render it, whatever it may be. So when you have like a character with really high skin information and subsurface scattering, stuff like that, really close to the screen, it takes forever to render. It's not going to take any more time to render that than if that was 1,000 of those characters filling up the screen that were really small, taking up just as much space. It's the type of render it is brute force render. So that type of optimization doesn't occur, but you can use it as a benefit. And one of the benefits of that is that I can have render out very deep scenes with deep atmosphere and stuff like that. and it would just take as much time as something would be close up with a shallow scene with just as much information. So, being so, I might as well just use that as an advantage and do some wider sets, do some deeper sets without having to make it too costly to build the sets. And this is one of the reasons for doing this voxel stuff. It's like, how can I cheat this up? So we did the Boolean cut thing. We can merge bits and pieces of sets together, and they worked out really well with the new Boolean system. And then with the fluid tool, fill in the gaps and make base terrains that I can populate with mesh or whatever else. It's even better. So speaking of which, let's talk about the mesh thing real quick. So I was going to pull in a Minecraft tree and stuff like that, but I'm not going to do this for that. I'll do a library for this because if this is something that's a staple, I probably will be using this process through a lot of the scenes in DigBuildLive and end up making a library for this tool. All right, so let's just kind of make something that, like this is it's a tree. So let's go ahead and 8's fine. I'm gonna make it kind of wide because I want to test out a couple things. And so this would be height would be 8 as well. All right. So this is gonna be our tree. Let's put it at 0 out because I want this to be 0 values here. And we can hide this group here. We'll call this a group. And we'll call this voxel generator. Let's hide that for now. All right. So let's say we're going to use this for our mesh thing. This is why there was other tools way back when they was able to use, but when I just stopped using Maya back in or doing Minecraft stuff in Maya back in 2017 or whatever, I ended up using old particle systems to generate stuff, and I just use mesh now for everything. So mesh. All right. So take mesh. Select the object I want. Say these are trees. Let's call this a tree. We'll call it like tree bit or something. Tree bit. All right. And then, and you make variations of these. You know what? Let's make the tree bit 1, and then let's make another tree bit. Since I got the history on this guy. We'll call this tree bit tall. Let me make this one skinny and tall. There we go. And then we got tree bit 2. All right, so tree bit 2, whatever. I'll give them a group. Tree bits. I do this with grass and stuff like that now, but I wanted to make sure I can test this out. So the whole concept of this one is making sure I can get these guys to snap to the grid system on Minecraft, because we all know how fucking anal that shit is with mesh. All right, the first problem with this is that I don't want to generate trees on every surface from the side, from the top, and everything like that. I did projection mapping testing on this before where I do like a ramp, and anything of this value from this angle, it'll generate an area which can be populated by mesh. It was really slow. It worked really well, but it was so freaking slow. So I want to do something else that I typically do with selection constraints. So what that is that I just want to select all the faces that are pointing upward. That's it. So I am going to select this, and I don't use this very often for faces. And hopefully I can figure out the system here. So with this constraint faces here, I want to be able to, orientation probably, only grab faces up on the y-axis. So if it's 1, that doesn't do shit. Oh, current next. Oh, I gotta turn this on. Orientation, direction. Oh, other way around. So it would be -1, and then nope, so that doesn't work either. Yeah, I think I have this backwards. So minimum would be, oh, so you can't be minimum on that either. Damn it. So how do we get this to work? Maybe it just wants to select the faces that I actually do want to have. So um, I can invert it, which is fine, but I'm trying to see if I can. The direction. 1, 1. X, Y, Z. All right, we're getting somewhere with this. Oh, it only gives me one value. I can only use one of these values to... Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. Damn it. Okay. Grr. Try again. So if this is... Oh, orientation is easier. Okay, I see. Orientation is what I want, not direction. Direction is probably tied to the local space. See, there we go. That's what I kind of wanted to happen. So if I do this like that, nothing will happen, but I give one value of that, minimum max. So even this is 360. Yep, that's right. So 360 degrees is what is like being allowed to fucking select those faces. So if I just have it 10 degrees, it's only going to be faces that are just within that 10 degrees of the normal. So that's what I want. So anyways, so now we got a way to isolate just the upward faces, which is nice. So I can go select invert here and delete everything I want. This is a nice way too to select, like if I'm doing grass painting and things like that. This is another way to be able to isolate that stuff. All right. So this will be actually my surface, which I'm going to allow Mesh to populate on. All right. So we have our Mesh. On our Mesh controllers here, we're going to give it distribute, and we want it to be able to distribute on that surface. So we do Mesh. And let's give it that mesh. I think it's probably surface 3, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, just checking. Hey, buddy, I said this mesh here. Why won't you give me that mesh? What the hell? What's going on here? That's weird. Why won't you drag? What the hell? You fucker. All right, I'm going to have to tear off the thing. I don't know why it's just doing this. Sometimes it does this, and I don't know why. Oh, see, it's not taking it. What the hell is going on here? This is really weird. I am baffled. Oh, we are crashing. That's why. Okay. Hold on. Something's definitely unhappy about this. Oh, maybe I have another object that's polysurface, whatever it was. Yep, that's what it was. My bad. This mesh is painted entirely black. Yes, I know. I'm aware of that. That's from the voxel data. Because mesh will take in voxel data. I mean, vertice color data. All right. Now that's that's there. We can try to populate this. So we're going to face center. And so I'm not seeing any of the voxel generation of those trees on this mesh here. Why is that? Something is up. That's strange. I think I've had this before. Basically, if I do like random vertice, it works, but then the other one doesn't work. So why isn't our mesh distributing? This is odd. They changed. God damn it! I hate new versions of Maya. They move stuff around. Let's see if I can remember how to do this before looking it up. So apparently the value data on this is all black. It just gave me that warning, and it won't populate on black vertice data. And the reason why it's black is because it was pulled up from a generated from a fluid object, and so it retained that mesh data. So I'm trying to remember how to clear out that vertice data, color data, and I don't remember how to do it. I thought it used to be under rendering and lighting shading, but it's not there. Mesh display, apply color. Let's try it this way. There we go. See how the trees popped up? It's because of that black data, that black color data. Because Mash will take that vertice data for populations. All right. Anyway, moving forward. All right, so we're getting our trees in here. Things are starting to work out now. We'll eventually figure out a pipeline for all this stuff. I want to give those trees a color, though. Our tree bits here. We'll just give them assign material. Make them brown. Dead trees. All right. And then we want to, on this mesh here, add a, we want to add ID. That's what I want to add. ID count 2, because we have 2 different versions of those trees. And so what we want to do on those trees here on the mesh repo here is add that other tree bit. There it is. There we go. So now we got the trees in here. So I want to be, oh, okay. This is what I thought I was going to run into. Okay, so these trees here are not fitting the grid exactly. And these are right? Orthographic top. Show grid. Yeah, these trees are the right size. So why aren't they the right size on this guy? See, I'm looking at this tree here. It's not scaled the same. So what's going on here? Let's see what the hell is going on here. Mash distribute. Blah, 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 blah. Bias ramp, face edges. Rotation ramp, scale ramp. Oh, here we go. Ignore ramps, that's what I want. Ignore ramps. There we go. Don't want to calculate rotation. All right, there we go. Now we're working. That's weird. Another issue I'm noticing, we are having these trees are in the center of their. Oh, you know why? Because of this. We need to move these trees to the baseline there, and we need to make sure that these trees aren't. Do they need to be centered, or do they need to be on the edge? So we can see that the ones here are centered, are placed on the grid properly. These 2x2s aren't, just centering it out. So this needs to make sure that this is actually on a point that's on the grid. So we need to offset this guy. Something like that. So the center piece of it's actually within the center of one of the faces. And there we go. Now that's on the grid. Okay, cool. So problem solving all these fucking weird shit. All right. So that populating works great. So I use this for grass and stuff, but I don't use it for so much of the other elements. So now we can. So say like we have something where we have like, oh, I don't want trees in the tunnel. We can paint weight it on, or we can just make it even easier and go like, I don't want any trees there. I don't want any trees on this mountain here. You know what? I don't want any trees in this valley either. So we can actually just remove this, and this is actually an easier way than painting those faces. So we can customize that shit. And we can make these individually tied to different types of generators too. So there's not going to be no trees generated in there. All right, that works. So a lot of this is just talking to myself, making sure this confirms that these steps kind of work here. All right, boop, boop, doop, boop, doop. So we can fill it with lots of trees or a little bit of trees. And then we got our seeds here, so we can do whatever we want with them. Okay, so that point works. A selection of faces work. So mash works, so we can use different mash groups for different types of things, from even like a crowd of characters to grass and mobs and stuff like that. So we can actually just kind of populate an entire terrain if we wanted to with animated mobs doing whatever animation is set up for them. Oh, this guy is still not centered though. Let's get that guy on that grid. There we go. Modify free transformations. Oh shit! Why won't that stay? There we go. My bad. There we go. Now the trees are on the top. All right. Cool. So that works. So the main set, we got to set up the set basically for the modular chunks for each of these scenes. Fucking R&D shit. All right. So I kind of want to make a grid base that makes it easy to place the stuff in. I'm probably not going to use polygons to do it. I'm probably going to use NURBs, honestly, so I can show and hide the NURBs easily and make them deselectable so I don't accidentally select them. No, I can do these, because then we can just make them reference nodes. All right. So I like 64 by 64 for the placement of these chunks. You can do 16 by 16 for individual ones if I need to do some like tweaks and add-ons, but I kind of want to make the placement of these 64 by 64. But we also got to figure out what our camera draw our depth is for this. I'm going to move this guy out of the way. We can group this guy and move him somewhere else. All right. Why does it keep doing that? There's got to be something tied to the fluid here, and I don't know why. We're just going to turn that fucker off. Every time I do an autosave, it gets angry about that. Oh, that's why. Because I have an initial state for that terrain, and every time it does an autosave, it gets angry because it's telling me that, hey, motherfucker, you already have a cache of that same name. That's why it's doing that. Okay. Do I want this to be centered this way, or do I want to be centered this way on the grid? Do I want the center of the grid to be the XY? Or do I want this to be like this on the XY, starting that grid system? No, you know what? I want the center to be, because that's the way that the fluid terrain is doing it, from the center out. I'm going to do the same thing. So I don't have to keep moving it over every time I make a grid. All right, so limit information. We want to change this display here for this to drawing overrides. We'll make this a template. Something like that. Something we can't grab and it's ghosted out. But I can grab it from the outliner here. All right, delete by type history. And we can always get these individual grids, I think, a different color. Let's find out. No, not in template. Reference, maybe? No, reference won't let me do it either. You guys suck. All right. Let's see here. Maybe we can change the group. Boo! It won't let me do it. All right. Oh, that's the wrong group. So I want to group this guy. Yes, he won't let me do that either. There's a way I used to do this and it used to work, and I don't remember how it worked. So if we template the whole group and then make the plane itself normal with reference? No, so it doesn't work either. Never mind. I give up. All right. I wanted each one of these have a different color. So this is mainly to have this grid here so we can check each individual section here to be able to, when we drop in the fluid terrain, to make sure it lines up. So if I'm off one or whatever like that, or something messed up, I can see visually that it's not on the grid. And it's easier to set up this way than actually using the actual grid on the Minecraft stuff. So if I move something, I actually can see that I moved it. Because I typically animate and stuff like that with that grid off. All right, so let's try to figure out our draw space, our draw depth here. And to do this, we need to have a couple objects that we can kind of fill up our... Oh, wait, you know what? We can use this guy. This will be our dummy. So we need to figure out our draw depth for these scenes. And what we want to do is add some visibility cutoff at a certain point. So of course our camera is going to see about right here in the view in the shot, which is fine. But what I want is how far back I need to go for the cutoff for the terrain. So I'm going to kind of have a mountainous terrain here, and I want to go kind of far, but not too far here. And since this is on a grid here, we can, oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and center this guy, this group here. By doing that, we're going to go ahead and show the pivot point here and snap this pivot point, the group over here, and we'll call this just set test or something. All right. It's going to be, all right, what are we going to use for our draw depth right here? And we can use our little tree there as our marker for the center of the world space. All right. So if that's at, God damn it. I meant to freeze that. Ah, shit. Show. None. Thank you. There we go. Modify freeze transformations. There we go. Okay, so 64, negative 64 here. We'll throw it. Oop, wrong one. Yeah, negative 64. There we go. So that should be right on one of those grids, and it is perfectly. Cool. All right, so let's go 1024. Throw that fucker back. I don't think I'm going to go that far back. Maybe 512. What is that, 8 of those? Yeah, that's about right. All right. So we need like an environment lighting here to test this out. That's fine. I just want a bullshit one, so we'll go to Arnold here. And we'll make it just kind of a ramp sky here. I just want this to kind of give it an ambient glow. I don't want this to be a source of lighting in the sense we're seeing. I'm just going to do kind of we'll do some old school chrome kind of stuff here. And we can set this right at our horizon line, so this would be 0.5. want a little bit more gray on that. There we go. So that's our horizon line. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful! Ah! Let's see. All right. Now I get my fall off in here. Make sure the right directional light. Turn that dude on. Intensity, yeah, 2.5 is fine. We'll get a little bit of warm color here, like a sun. There's character foreground, there's our background. All right, there's Arnold. And that works out on that. So what I want this to happen here, I want this to start to cut off the visibility between this and the background set here at a certain point. So we're going to use environment atmosphere here. Do I want to use this or I want to use my own to cut off a fluid object? No, we'll use this. We'll use both. We're actually going to use both because there's some interior shots and exterior shots. All right. And with scum dead light, we're going to have to turn that off. No, we can turn yeah, that's right. Show viewport, turn off lights this way. There we go. All right. So, and then fog. I don't see the fog loading up. It might not load up with that not turned on. Try again. Nope, still not seeing it. Let's find out why. So the density of that should be showing up like disappearing on me, and I don't see crap. Yeah, what's going on here? Atmospheric volume. Oh, that's right. Attenuation needs to be more than one. My bad. No, we have something is wrong. What the hell is wrong here? God damn it. What shit breaking on me today? I don't know why this is not rendering though. Yeah, I don't want AA fog. I want atmospheric volume going on. I don't know why this is not triggering on. Well, we'll do AI fog for now. Ground normal would be 1 that way. This is weird. Oh, this is touchy. Touchy. All right. Yes, I know about the cache problem. Thank you for autosave. All right, so let's see. I just want it to be barely visible. So I really don't know how this is calculated, this distance here. Okay, the density of that's fine. So we should make it a little bit. I wanted atmospheric volume to work, and I don't know why it's not kicking on. I think because I don't have the light for it. Height. Okay, this is strange. Why don't I have a height value? Oh, this is tied to a ramp. That's right. Ground point 1, 10, 200. That's right. It's been a while since I used this one. And the ground normal is what direction? So this is always going to be 1. And then height will always be... That's right. I remember now. Okay. So this needs to be tied to a ramp. Let's go ahead and do a ramp here. Yep. And I don't want the, I want the height value to be tied to an AI ramp. I mean Arnold ramp. Because I'm going to go above a certain value here. There he is. Height. So out R equals that. There we go. Yeah, see that how it cuts off there? We can actually adjust that height now. That's what I wanted. New diagonal, all that stuff. Yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. Okay, this is strange though. Why is it being projected on those trees cutting off, but not the object back there? Okay, is that a mesh issue? Because look, when it's drawing the draw space on the falla for the pull that fucker back up. It actually cuts off those trees back there the same as on this. Check this out. That is some weird funk. Um, okay. That is not supposed to happen. Fuck, I don't want to problem solve this issue too. I don't know if this is just a mash issue with AI fog. That is weird. I'll turn off this Skydome light for a second there. If I move these up and down, does it? See, it doesn't matter. That's strange though. I'm a dumbass. So that line there isn't a fog line. It's the reflection of the fog. I betcha. Oh, it is a fog line. Damn it. I was hoping it was a reflection of the fog. I was like, oh, there's that problem. It's just a reflection of the fog. Yeah. Never mind. I was like, oh, it's probably just a fog reflection. No, it's the actual. That's really strange. That's a mash problem. I don't know why it's duplicating the information from the object in the foreground as the trees in the background. You know what? I'm not dicking with this, so we are not doing it this way. Because it's going to cause me too many fucking problems. We're going to do it the old school way. Window, FX, fluid, 3D container, 1024. Actually, we can do that. That's whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm doing it up here. 1024 by 1024. 1024. And let's go 16 on this. And this needs to be like 32 maybe. Nah, 64. 256. There we go. And we can move this guy. Let's see. That's 512 there, so let's go 256. No, it's actually this can be 512 too. We can put that in the same section there on that cutoff. And then, yep, that'll work. All right. We're getting the old school way. Arnold's not happy about it, but I am because I know how to do this one. Let's see. Shading, blah, 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 blah. We want to go density. We're going to do constant, and that's fine too. Now we can adjust our fall off. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's do a Y gradient fall off from the top. Get the transparency way up there. And let's go density. No. X gradient. So we want to go from where we're standing to the back. So that's going to be Z gradient. There we go. And now we can adjust that transparency. And a Y gradient fall off. We'll have it drop down. So this is kind of like our ground fog kind of thing. Oh, we're almost going to 0.75 maybe. All right. Turn our sky back on. All right, see how long it's taken to render because of it's actually casting shadow through this fluid element, and we're gonna do some cheats on here to help speed up this process. It's not casting shadows, it's not receiving shadows, and then we also want to change the shading quality on Arnold here. Step size, we put it to 1, and yeah, anyway. So that's the only problem with the setup is that it takes a lot longer for this to render than using Arnold's depth thing. I don't know why the fucking atmospheric volume is not working though. It should be working and I have no idea why it's not. Okay, so that's our backup plan. What's nice about this too is easy to change the colors out for this. You can see the fog cutoff there. It's actually about right where I want it to be. Yeah, that's about right. I can make it a little denser though. I just want that stuff to just barely be visible from the background. It's too much. There you go. That works. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. No, I don't have a donate button or anything like that yet. You can go to the Patreon. I gotta manually set all that stuff up, and I've just been avoiding it until I get the patron shit fucking in order. With the first set of perks that were supposed to be mailed out like a month ago. All right, so that works out for that. I need to just change out the sampling rate because I don't need this stuff to lag in. This is going on. That or change it to GPU rendering. So it might be lagging as I'm doing this, and I'm not even aware of that. That works for me. Okay. Next step. The fall off is there. I need to get that atmosphere volume thing to work, regardless of this, because of the interior shots. So let's get that one working. I don't know why it wasn't working. I don't know if it was a render issue. I don't know if something that toggled on. I mean, I've turned it on for Maya 2024 before. Shut the fuck up. I know you need a unique name. I'm going to delete this cache, dude. Serious, this is bugging me every time it autosaves. Delete. There we go. Initial state, clear initial state. Unable to clear initial state. Why? What the hell? Wrong object. Initial state, clear initial state. All right, hopefully that'll turn that thing off. All right. Yeah, I don't know why the fog thing's not working. So we're gonna take this tree bit here, and we're gonna do an older version of testing this out here. And we're gonna go edit, duplicate special, because I really don't want to have to keep adjusting this for each of these terrains to be dropped in. Let's go 16, and we'll do it on the world space here, and we're gonna make this like markers down on the horizon here. We'll do 16 of these guys. Technically 15 because the one I have right there is the 16th one. And every 64, so the center of every one of these grids, So let's move this over to 64 just to keep the stuff where it's at. Let me keep all these markers kind of organized here. And then 64 back. So, yeah. Ooh, wrong direction. There we go. There we go. Those are our markers. Actually, I want this taller. There we go. Okay. So these are basically our depth testers. So we render a scene here. You can kind of see here. So we can actually see what the fall off is on that. There's another way I used to do this too with a projection style depth map years ago before you were able to have like multiple layers and channels that export that depth map channel embedded in your EXR files. But when Arnold came along, they finally integrated that in Maya. So before you had to like do a layer, then map everything with this one material that would be a depth map material. It was fucking annoying. So we can watch our see our fall off here now. So the next thing is to test out atmospheric volume, and like I said before, why is it not kicking on? Also, I want to make one more terrain here. That's gigantic and flat. Have it cut off right at that 512 mark in the back. The center of it is it's 1024, so the edge of it will be 512 units out, right where that our cutoff is, where we want for our environment. All right, so we can turn off this fluid here. I really don't want to use that fluid if I don't have to. I can figure out. I'm gonna have to look it up and figure out why the mash issues happening with the fog. Why is it duplicating the information on the mash color value or the fog value onto the ones in the background? I don't understand why it's doing that. I know these are instanced, and that's how Mesh works. It just instances the object, but I don't know why it's instancing the render light information on that object with those other objects. I've never seen it do that before, and I usually don't use fog, so I got to find out why that's happening. Anyway, moving on. So those are our terrain markers, and then I want to go back this right. Sorry, the stream is like a technical stream. We're not animating. We're not doing fucking like, wow, make some cool shit. No, we're fucking setting up a pipeline for scene generation. Because I'm over the last month, I've gotten really tired of fucking doing this shit from scratch every time. So doing the setup here and figuring out how to tackle this, and then from this point, the pipeline can be set, and I can just replace objects and scenes. Set up the camera and fucking render out, because it was just taking too long doing that manually every time. Anyway, back to the render settings. All right, environment. Why is this atmospheric volume not working? And this is the one I like using because I can add a ramp to it for the fall off. You know what? Let's just do this first. Let's go to render settings here. Delete this one. Create a new one. Figure out why this is not working. Doop. All right. Okie dokies. So usually when I kick on the density on this thing, usually it's rendering it right off the bat. Like everything just goes dense. That's not occurring here. And I don't know why. I wonder if it's a viewport for some reason. Shouldn't be, but it might be. Nope, it's not. Okay. This is really strange, though. I don't know why this is not kicking in. So this is another scene I just like rendered last night to do a test, and it's got atmospheric volume on, and it works great. See, the fucking kicks right in. Why isn't the other one kicking in? Yeah, there's nothing weird about it. So what the hell's going on here? This is strange. Something's broken in the other scene, and I don't know why. Why is this broken? I'm sitting here just fucking racking my brain. Why did it break in this scene? Yeah, even this volume, like this density being at 0.10 here, the fog should be so dense where I can just barely see this first marker. But it's not happening. What the hell broke? I know that doesn't have to be on for it to kick on. I am really confused. It's acting like it's not even connected for some reason. Oh, there we go. It's fucking connected. This is strange. But what makes it even weird is why attenuation just fucking goes full black when there's a value on it. Oh, see, now it's kicking in. Oh, barely. It's just the values. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's something else going on here that's off. This is very. I'm baffled. I'm legitimately baffled on this. For some reason, I remember this happening before, but I don't remember what caused it. All right, no, we're going to save this scene real quick. Then we're going to see what's different about the other scene. Yeah, no, I got errors in the scene. All right. Nothing's different about this at all. Atmosphere, filter driver, whatever. So even if I just like copy this. Let's just give it a name. S. Extra attributes, nothing. Yeah, nothing's in here. That's weird. Camera, diffuse, specular, all good to go. Let's check out render settings real quick. Render globals, just to make sure something's not. Yeah, I'm fine. It's nothing's weird about this. I'm gonna start throwing some shit here pretty soon. Right, there's my new volume here. And then let's go to render settings here. Grab the new one. I'm trying to take the fog there and delete it. All right, so there's that one. Still not working. What the fuck? Ah! This is really strange. I'm wondering if it doesn't have an Arnold-based light for some reason. It doesn't trigger a certain part of the render engine. So let's do that real quick. Okay, let's drop this light in here. Yes, it's what it is. Holy shit. If you don't have a light source, an Arnold light source in the scene, it won't turn on atmospheric volume for whatever reason. It just has to have one in the scene, and then it kicks it on. Ah, that's annoying. So it just won't render atmospheric volume if there's not a light source. It doesn't have to be the light source. It just has to be an Arnold light source. Okay, I did not. That's new. That is new to me. Because the other light sources I'm using were the base Maya ones, and atmospheric volume doesn't work on the global light like this. It just cuts it out, which is fine. But now if I take rendering this light here, yeah, see now I'll light it up. Ah, motherfucker. Ugh. Okay, we're good now. Yeah, it just doesn't. For whatever reason, it just doesn't trigger it on. All right, so now I can turn this on, that on, and we just have to make sure of an Arnold light source. I mean, an AI light source. It doesn't have to be anywhere. It just has to be somewhere. All right. Because I already know that this doesn't won't trigger Arnold light. It's one of those things where it knows that it's just not going to environmental lighting is not going to light that up, which is fine. I don't even think that the physical sky will do it. But I'm out of curiosity. No, physical sky won't do it either. Okay. Fucking A. So with this guy here, we're gonna actually tie this light to the camera. Now we can go back to testing our distance here. Fucking A. I wasn't aware of that it wasn't gonna trigger that unless that light source was some reason in the scene. That's fucking ridiculous. Let's turn this down because otherwise it's gonna blow everything out. All right, perspective. We'll turn that on because I'm using this light literally at the point where my camera's at, so I can test the depth of this via my camera depth. Let's do about 10 here, just so I can see that camera. And then we need to make this like, I'm gonna make this pretty big. Like 100 should be all right. Actually, let's kind of make everything quartered here, so it makes it easier to estimate the fall off on the like exponentially. All right, let's go spread. I want that to be 0 at the moment. 2400. Nah, I need to flip this camera around. 180. 180 is not it. What direction is that camera showing anyways? Hold on one second. Show viewport lights. It is facing. It's facing the right direction. Boop. Lights. All right. So this is going to be up high. This is going to be like, let's go up to 1024 on that and just keep up in that until we get our amount here on exposure. So I want this to be able to light as much as I can, which I can kind of see there. And I want the spread to be just like a laser beam here. Boo! There we go. There we go. That's what I want. Okay. Fuck, finally we're here. Yeah, I was baffled why it just would not trigger the fog. That's a new one for me. The previous version of Maya that I had wasn't an issue. You can have any light in there, and it wouldn't trigger. It would automatically start rendering the fog. For some reason, it just needs an AI light source to force the atmospheric volume to actually start rendering. Nope, learn something every day. Like 12 years of Maya, just fucking still learn new weird fucking shit. All right. Actually, I want this light to be a little bit thinner. Let's go 16, just as a laser beam here. Whoa, why did that get bigger? That's weird. Oh, it's denser because of the light source is now stronger. And we can actually change my angle here. Yeah, let's go 64. I forget that I have to have my angle just right to be able to see that shit. Yeah, all right. Okay, so that is illuminated like a mofo. We just want that to be barely visible. Put the negatives there. I want to turn this off because it's giving me some hard feedback there. All right. That's fine. Give me my flat lighting. 2, 4, 4. Oh, you know what? We can make this even better. Let's go 64 on this. And then exponentially, this should be like equivalent to my squares, theoretically. So if we do 1, it'll be 164 and another 64. 2 would be 3 64s down. 4 should just barely start seeing that mountain. Yep, there we go. Okay, yay, math works. Okay. Let's see. Put that at 2 for now. Okay, so if I want that to be a full daylight kind of spectrum here, probably double that. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, now we can adjust our fog here. Since we see that illuminated as bright as we want it to be, it's close to the value that was the color of the object, which is that light gray color. That's where you usually like when you see live action films and you see those balls that have like a grayscale on it. Sometimes they have a color scale on it, so you can map the projection mapping where the lighting is for the CGI elements. You may integrate it into that in that realm. So you have that gray as a neutral gray. You can match that to your chroma and your scene and stuff like that. So this is basically the same thing we're kind of doing right here, but we're doing it with fog instead. All right, so when you go to that fog volume, we don't need that one anymore. We can use, oh, that was the one I was using. Good job, David. No, not that one. I want my old one. That's fine. We'll just use that one. All right. Oh, broke it. God damn it. Let's see if we can undo that shit. Guess I shouldn't have got rid of it. All right. So we want to cut off the fog. just as it kind of equalizes there. Continuation is nice, but that's going to be too high. About right there. Now we can leave that. I like my anisotrope kind of dark sometimes for spotlights and stuff like that, but we're actually going to leave it at 0 for now. So I can still kind of see it there, just barely. I think that's a good fall off on there. So let's say about 512 it starts to cut off. So I definitely won't be seeing anything at 10,000 units away. Yeah, that works. That works pretty good. Okay. That kind of matches me, my depth there. That's close enough. All right, something kind of cool with this too is that what if I don't want a certain value on this height of this fog? Well, you can change the density of the fog based on height values by putting a projection map. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go shader here, and we're going to go, but it's very touchy. You can see how low this value is here. So shader, we want to, no, texture. I wonder if I can do this with Maya textures. I'm going to actually find out. This is just a... So anyway, I want this projection texture here to be scale 512 by 512 by 512. And let's see what direction that ramp is sitting. Hold on, I got to turn this off so I can actually... There it is. Oh, sitting in the right spot. Okay, cool. And then this ramp here, so this value here would be very low. So if this is 0 right there, this would be, what was it, 20? Oh, that's not what I want. I want this to be 0.020. There we go. All right. I might have to use Arnold's ramp for this to work, because this might not work. This might just get ugly. It might be angry at me for even trying to attempt this with the Maya ramp. So this will be at 0.5, which is our middle of the world space here. And this should be cutting off. Yeah, I'm not seeing it cut off. So it won't work. It won't work with Maya's projection mapping. We'll have to use the Arnold one. That's all right. I kind of had a feeling. So go back to that. That's okay. Arnold. AI ramp. Where are you at? RGB ramp. That's right. Oh, wait, no. Ramp float is what I want. That's the wrong one. God damn it. Makes sense now why that value isn't working. Anything has to be a float value. Density, yes. Arnold. Ramp, float, there it is. There we go. All right. I don't remember if it's U or V, but you can see it fucking lighter over there, darker over here. So we can actually adjust this fall off here, which is nice. But remember, it's super touchy. Let's get in there a little closer. New? No. Box? Time? I don't know why time's working. I'm just fucking with it right now. All right, so back to you here. So this needs to be a very low value. So this needs to be that 0.202. And this needs to Oh, this is the middle of the world space, so this needs to be... Oh, see, I am off. This needs to be a V. There it is. Had it the wrong way. All right, so that's... it's true right there. So this would be... well, that is sensitive. So maybe 5. And then down below will be... yeah. We'll keep that at 2 all the way through. Okay. And then keep that as is. Don't touch that. And then I want to go to back to that atmospheric volume there. And the color here, do the same thing. So we'll do Arnold. Ramp RGB. Now we can actually have some like different color. Oh wait, you know what? Before I do that, I need this one turned off. Crap. I realized that I should have done this backwards. And keep that one on. Do this one first. All right, so we can do like sky blue on the ground, or maybe a dusty gray, and then kind of go up to a sky blue. Oh wait, that's right. Center of the world space here. So 0.5 is our ground level here. So now we're getting that effect that I was trying to get earlier with the fog, and I just couldn't get it to work. Cool. Fuck, there. So depending on the depth of it, what happens when I do that to UV though? Oh, it comes in from the side. Makes sense. And this is along the end. Cool. Now we can get our color in there, so we can actually change the fog level in that color. So if we kind of pull out here. So anything on that horizon line is always, oh, nice. Yep, it does the job. Cool, that's what I wanted. So this is literally what I was trying to do with that fog pass, but I don't know why it was all janky. But now we're cooking. So now it's clear. It reminds me of like old style ray tracing, especially with the noise right now. It's a situation like this. Cool. And now if I test this out, I can go to that volume here, and we can even up it or lower it depending on the situation of our density here. All right, whatever lights do I have on in the scene right now? Physical sky, when you turn that off. And then, oh wait, no, that can be on. That's just the one that's not toggled on. Turn off that shit. Area light. Boom. Cool. And this should just be normal looking lighting right now. All right, that is correct. And that area light is just so blown out. Let's drop it to about 6 here. All right, I'm turning this back off again. And area light. Oh, what happened to my let me get rid of that. My volume. Oh, I dropped it back down to 0. My bad. There we go. All right, cool. Fuck. All right, so that's... I can't believe we can do this for 2 hours. Holy shit. All right, we got the setup. We got the fluid thing fixed. We got the fog things integrated. We can turn this off. So this is going to be for certain scenes that have indoor stuff. The cutoff value for that is fine. Cool. All right. We turn that off. We'll turn the sky back on. We'll put our outdoor fog back on as well. And we can turn off that ugly light. Yeah, we're good. And then now it's just making, after doing that mesh setup, is just setting up the, oh, come on, render. There we go. Setting up the individual terrain things. And some of those are going to pull in from sets I have, like I have a swamp terrain and stuff like that. And now I can cut it up into those 64 by, we don't need that anymore. 64 by 64. We can also get rid of these those guys. We don't need those anymore. We can hide that. I can actually drop this back down to 0. Put this back home off to the side with the other fluid generator thing. And honestly, let's kind of set this up so it can be pulled up again tomorrow. The Voxel generator thing, make sure that's working good. Oh, we turned on disable valuation. That's right, because of that saving issue. Boop. There we go. I thought. Oh, that's right. There we go. And we got a wonderful Voxel generator to set up our environment. And yeah, cool. That was on my list. That was everything I needed to do on the list to get this set up. And I already have like clouds and stuff like that. I have that from other scenes. I'm going to pull in for that. All right. So this was a weird stream to figure out that voxel stuff and then set up for the scene setup so I don't have to do this every time. So what I can do is basically have this set up so when I have a scene to render for an environment, I just open up this template and I'll probably put like a couple slider controls to a couple values like to the fog control and stuff like that, or maybe a toggle. So it's like, oh, we have indoor fog, it would be this guy. If it's outdoor fog, it'll toggle on this fluid. Just to make those things so I can just click them on and off. So whenever I load up a scene and throwing the environmental or the settings and the set dressings and stuff in there, I don't have to make this every fucking time. All right, we're good. All right, thanks for watching and toodles.